Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Catalog Management Product Update and Roadmap session. My name is Hannah Martinez. I am an Associate Product Manager for Curriculum and Catalog Management here at Kuali, and I'm going to be the moderator for this session. We're really glad that you're all here today, and we want to welcome you. So there's a couple things I want to note before we get started. Just really quick, all attendees are going to be on mute throughout the presentation. If you have any questions throughout the session, you can feel free to jot them down and put them in the Q&A box at the bottom of Zoom. And we will record those and read them out in the Q&A portion at the end of the session. If we don't get to your questions, we'll make sure to follow up after the session is over. The session is going to be recorded, and a link to the recording will be available after the completion of the conference. So I'm going to go ahead and turn the time over to our presenter, Sarah Crane, who is our Director of Product Management here at Kuali.
Hi, everyone. I'm assuming many of you, if not all of you, were in our last session on the product update and roadmap for curriculum management. So thanks for joining the same session for catalog management today. I'm Sarah. If you didn't join earlier, I will introduce myself again. And as Hannah mentioned, I'm the Director of Product Management here at Kuali, overseeing curriculum and catalog management. And as Joel mentioned in the keynote, also build as well. So I've been with Kuali for almost 4 years. It'll be 4 years in March now, always in product management. So I've had a lot of really good experiences working with customers like you all and potential customers to determine what our products should do and the problems that you're looking to solve on your campuses. I wanted to just jump right in. As far as the description of this session, today's session is the same as our curriculum management session, where we're going to be looking at some of the things that we have worked on in 2020 in catalog management. And again, what we plan to be working on in 2021, as well as ways that you as a customer or a potential customer can participate in that research and discovery process. So again, just wanted to briefly touch base on how we determine what we'll be working on in catalog management. This should look very familiar to you because it is the same paradigm that we use for our curriculum management prioritization. Again, it's those 3 areas that we look at when we're looking at any functionality that we want to add to our catalog product. And that, again, is parity with the market, product vision, and our current customer needs. In many ways, CM and catalog go hand in hand for us. And so a lot of the decisions that we're making for prioritization on the curriculum side, of course, they'll have a downstream dependency to catalog as well. So when we're approaching prioritization across these products and we're developing our roadmap, our teams work really closely together. There's a lot of sharing of knowledge between engineering, for example, between the curriculum and the catalog management teams, and as well as design and product. So Hannah and I work together essentially on one large product, which is CM and catalog. But we wanted to take some time to talk to you specifically about what we see the vision for catalog being and the future of that product. So again, speaking specifically to the vision for catalog management, this graph will look very familiar, but the labels associated with it are a little bit different. And again, just want to provide the caveat that although this is visually displayed as 3 discrete steps, these aren't mutually exclusive objectives that we have. And as a product, we prioritize between all 3 of these steps and aim to have a really good balance in our roadmap between these 3 objectives so that at any given time, we're furthering each of these objectives in facilitating the catalog product, providing value to you and to your institution. So very similarly to curriculum management, catalog management is a really important tool for improving, again, the efficiency and the accuracy of the catalog publication process. So everything from creating all of those pages that we often refer to as non-curricular content, but really what we mean is any content that does not require a governance process. So policies and curriculum, those things do require a governance process, and that's all handled in our curriculum management application. When we're talking about non-curricular content, what we're talking about is things that don't require the rigid governance process associated with institutional policies and curriculum. So it's more of a collaborative experience that's existing between the catalog administrator and the various departments, individuals, and roles that are responsible for making sure that the catalog content is up to date with the latest and most accurate information. So again, if you are recently out of implementation or you're looking at procuring a catalog management product, you know very well the troubles that can exist in managing the actual creation, aggregation, review, assignment, and editing for a catalog in each catalog cycle. And in fact, we get feedback all the time from institutions that are looking to procure a product that the amount of edits that they allow and the number of times that they will actually publish a catalog is driven by how difficult this process is, because it just requires so much manual intervention. So the first goal of the vision for catalog management is to decrease all of those inefficiencies that exist in those manual processes. So we want to improve the accuracy and the efficiency of aggregating all of that curriculum information, which, as many of you know, comes from our curriculum management process. And as Joel mentioned in his keynote, is like a flipping a switch type of scenario. So we've handled that really well. So our next area of focus is in all of that ancillary content that goes into your catalog that requires a lot of delegation and review to make sure that it's all up to date and accurate. So that's the first step of what we aim to do with our vision for catalog management. The second step of that vision is in actually focusing on improving the content and the publication management and collaboration associated with putting together that catalog. So once we have identified ways that we can make this a more efficient and a more accurate process, our focus then shifts to how we can facilitate the management of that process as a whole. And again, similar to curriculum management, how we can facilitate the required collaboration that exists in order to get a catalog reviewed, edited, and published on whatever your institutional cycle may be. We see in interviews and discovery calls with prospective and current customers a lot of circumstances where there is a lot of need for this back and forth collaboration, say between departments who are responsible for looking at their department pages, or between the catalog administrator, those responsible for the actual publication and update of the catalog, and those departments, to make sure that the process is going off without a hitch, so to speak. So that is things like being able to actually make assignments to review the pages that a particular role or a particular group needs to review, facilitating the feedback from those that are making those edits and doing those reviews to the catalog manager, so that that person knows the percentage to completion or the amount that has already been done or needs to be done to actually getting that catalog through and published. The third step of the vision is a little bit of a different approach to looking at the functionality that a catalog can provide to your institution. Historically, catalogs have been very, check the box type of scenarios, most useful for, if you're in the United States, things like the Veterans Affairs requirements for providing curricular information to that group for students to receive financial aid, accreditation processes that happen on a cyclical basis, etc. But what we see at Kuali is a lot of opportunity to create the content, or to create ways that the content that's already being created within your catalog, and to use that to facilitate the other arms of the institutional objectives, like student discovery, facilitating your marketing pipeline, and really integrating the catalog into the holistic brand of your institution. We see that the catalog, at the very least, can help your institution limit the duplication that we see is often happening between the catalog pages that describe departments and programs, et cetera, and the marketing type pages that are used that have most of, if not all, the same information. So our focus on the vision of catalog is to create, yes, a tool that improves the efficiency and the accuracy, that allows for the collaboration and the content management that needs to happen from a project management standpoint to get that publication through on whatever cycle your institution chooses, but also as a rich database of content for your institution to use in a way to help your institutional growth objectives. So providing things in the catalog, for example, like richer opportunities for student discovery. We hear a lot from potential customers about the need to provide a catalog experience that provides students with a way who, maybe they don't necessarily know what they're looking for, but they know some keywords, or they know some careers that they're interested in, or they know some particular departments that they think might be of interest. Well, what are some exploratory ways that they could use the catalog to facilitate that discovery? In addition, we speak with lots of institutions as well who are using the catalog as part of their marketing pipeline. So if you have, for example, a significant, or you will in the future have a significant percentage of your students coming from an online background, so they're looking for online platform related programs, having the ability to actually translate them interacting with your catalog and interacting with that information into an outreach opportunity for your business development group, things of that nature. Now, not all institutions use the catalog in that way, but what we can do is provide a really rich and useful and efficient hybrid between what the catalog is today and those marketing pages that many institutions are investing a lot of time and money into creating, to really reduce the expenditures related to those activities at an institution, and to provide even more avenues for your institution to reach its growth and particularly its enrollment goals. So that's our overall vision for catalog management. And so some of the things I'm going to show you today, I'm going to speak specifically to those steps in our vision and how we see what we've been working on and what we plan to be working on fitting into each of those steps. So 2020 in review. In 2020, this is just a sampling of some of the larger elements that we were able to work on for catalog. I'm going to give you just a second again to look at that, and then I'm going to dive into one in particular. And again, for those of you that were able to join our previous curriculum management roadmap session, you'll notice that these screenshots also come from our product portal. So you'll able to use that portal to see what's on our roadmap, both for curriculum and for catalog management. And later on in the presentation, I'll get into more details about that as well. So potentially the most significant thing we were able to work on in 2024 catalog is the release of our global search functionality. And Joel mentioned this in his keynote address this morning, but if you weren't able to participate in that, the background on this is we were finding through many discovery conversations, excuse me, with our customers, that we weren't supporting as deep of a search experience through the catalog as was really needed, especially for groups like, say, advisement. Advisement is a very large, as many of you or all of you already know, audience for catalog, as they're using the catalog to help guide students through their programs, help them understand the requirements for completing their programs, etc. So what we needed was a way to support searching across all curricular content in a way that was performant. It worked really quickly. and really helped our advisors, students, and any other audience associated with the catalog that you have embedded on your institution's website with access to that curricular information. So we have had a period of time where this functionality has been available for you to preview. We're going to be doing a general release of this functionality on March 24th. So this will become the default experience for your institution's embedded catalog. And if you're in implementation and you have not yet launched your catalog on your institution's website, this would then be incorporated as part of the experience when you do get to that point. So you won't be required to enable any of that functionality when that time comes. So just some highlights into this functionality. It's extremely performant. You'll notice as you are going through and searching through any of the content in your catalog that the search is done very quickly. So we know a lot that users, especially those digital native users that are coming and looking at institutions to do research on their curriculum, they're used to a certain type of search experience, both in terms of performance and in terms of accuracy. So with this search, we've optimized the speed and the performance associated with searching across all of your curricular content. And we've also improved the accuracy. So we worked with several of our institutions to tune the results that come back when you're actually completing a search. So this again helps your user, whoever that might be coming to your institution's site, find the right information in an efficient way. We provide a short description of any of the curriculum that they're looking at, and then an easy way for them to access that specific page within the application. If you have additional questions about global search, feel free to either leave them in the Q&A section on your Zoom box, or you're free, of course, to access all of the documentation that is linked in Zendesk. If you don't have a Zendesk account yet, or if you need help finding that, please don't hesitate to let any of us know or your customer success manager know, and we can get you access to that documentation. So again, general release for that global search will be March 24th. This speaks specifically to our third step of our vision, which is being able to support that discovery and search, as well as being integrated into your institution's overall experience. So we want you to be able to use Catalog to facilitate that discovery. This is just one small step in a lot of potential that we see for facilitating things that can help your students, your advisors, parents, etc., find the curricular information that is of most interest to them. So moving on, what then do we plan to do in 2021? Now, our focus in 2021 is going to be primarily on that second step of our catalog vision, which is supporting the actual management and the publication of a catalog. Now, we know there are a lot of really rich collaboration opportunities that exist for all of the content that goes into the catalog that, again, is not related to your institutional policies or to your curriculum. So in progress now, we have what we've been internally calling the catalog review process. So starting here on the top left corner, we are going to be supporting the ability to assign catalog pages for review and edit. So a catalog administrator will be able to access our catalog tool and assign a particular page or pages to a user or to a role within the system. So if you have a specific role across your departments or your colleges that is responsible for looking at a page, you can use this role assignment to be able to assign those pages out for review and for edit. You can also, if you have a particular user that you know needs to review a page, do so as well. You can assign 1, 2, 3, as many as you'd like for them to review that page as part of the publication process. Now, once that page has been assigned for review, we're going to move to the next item on the top right of this page, which is track changes for catalog content. Now, a lot of the feedback that we've received from our institutions, both that use Catalog today or that plan to be implementing Catalog in the future, is that Google Docs is actually one of the things that's used most frequently when these pages are out for review and editing. So in order to facilitate that type of insight into what actually is changing on the pages that are being assigned for review, we will be facilitating that same type of track changes experience within catalog pages. So what this means is that you'll be able to, after you've assigned the page to an editor or editors to review, you'll be able to actually see the changes that have taken place in a very familiar experience to you. So that is, any additions to the text will be highlighted in green, any removal of text will be crossed out and shown in red. You'll also have the ability to accept or reject these changes, although we see that as primarily being a function of the collaboration between members of the same department, for example, but the catalog administrator can do that as well. If there's content that you know, for example, does not meet your institution's voice or your particular brand's guidelines, you can also edit that information as well, and those edits will be retained on the record. Now, moving down to the bottom right corner of this screen, the next feature that we are working on in conjunction with this functionality is actual review monitoring for the catalog admin. So once you have assigned these pages to an editor or editors to review, how are you going to know the status of those items? Now, this process will allow you to see all pages that have been assigned for review, who they were assigned to, and when they were last modified, and then whether they are currently under review or whether they have been approved. Now, what this process will look like is, if I am the catalog admin and I have a particular department page that I'm assigning to Hannah, I will access that page, assign the page to Hannah for her to review. Hannah will make her changes, and then she will click a button within the application that says Submit for Review. Once she has done that, I will be notified as the catalog admin that that page is ready for me to review. I can go in, I can accept, I can reject those changes, but I have the additional ability to assign other reviewers if needed, or I can accept her edits and mark the page as approved. So this catalog review process monitoring card shows us a little bit of what that page will look like. So each page will be listed. I'll be able to see the status, whether it's under review or approved, who it was assigned to, and again, when it was last modified. Now, moving to the bottom left corner of this screen, we'll also be supporting the ability to share these catalog pages with other users for editing. Now, we've heard a lot of feedback from catalog administrators that you don't necessarily always have the most up-to-date list for all of the people that need to be involved in this oftentimes collaborative process to review and edit these catalog pages. What this functionality allows is for that end user who has had that page assigned to them, or the catalog administrator, it's not limited by role, but any user to be able to share a page that's been assigned to them with one or more other users. So for example, if you have a scenario where you have sent a department page to the department admin has a question for someone else to come into the system and provide feedback on, or to provide edits for, that department admin can access this share functionality to share that page and temporary editing rights with that other user. Now, looking at this process full circle, what this will allow a catalog admin to do is to offload a lot of that administrative work that has typically been relied on through email, PDFs, a lot of Word documents or Google Docs, and use the system instead to facilitate the publication and the management of that publication process. Once the catalog has been locked down, Users that have been granted access to these pages will no longer have access, and any changes will have to go through the catalog admin. We know how important it is to not have any edits that are made to pages go through after that publication deadline. So this locking of the catalog will prevent any of those edits from happening without the catalog admin's approval. What this will also do is will allow edits to be made to catalog pages. Heretofore, for those of you that are familiar, called content items, will have those pages not have any edits and updates made to them published to the live catalog until those edits are approved. So that's also a change that we'll be making as part of what's currently in progress, so that that catalog admin has greater control over the content that is published on the embedded website and can facilitate actually offloading some of that management to those editors. So those are 4 of the things that are currently in progress to help us facilitate that second step of our vision to help improve the management of the publication of the catalog. For future work, we have a lot of updates planned for the actual look and feel of what comes out of this catalog process. So starting with the top left corner, you'll see that we plan to make significant updates to our catalog PDF. We know a lot of institutions use the PDF today to have as a historical record, and the formatting and the visual look and feel of the catalog PDF isn't as crucial. On the other hand, though, we do have institutions that require a catalog that be printed or to be shared in a digital format that matches an institution's branded look and feel. So we will be working on significant updates to how that catalog is automatically generated from our system, decreasing the number of pages, decreasing any kind of duplicate content that is included in that PDF, and just generally providing a better overall experience. This should benefit even those institutions that just need it for record-keeping purposes. On the top right-hand corner, we'll be shifting our focus to the actual embedded experience of the catalog itself. Now that we have improved the searching experience for your end users of catalog in your institution's site, we're going to be adding additional flexibility for advanced filtering of curricular content. Again, this speaks to the third step of our catalog vision, which is supporting that student discovery. And it's not limited only to students. This could be advisors, parents, etc., for that curricular content. So we'll be allowing institutions the ability to filter their curricular content based off of configurable advanced filters. Things like, what campus is this taught at if you have a multiple campus institution, for example. Things like the mode of delivery. Is this an online course? Is this an in-person course? Or is this blended? Things of that nature that you'll be able to configure independent to your institution and to your catalog, specific to your institution's needs. Again, we're doing this to support a much more flexible and robust experience for those users who are accessing your embedded catalog to find the specific information that they're looking for. If I switch down to the bottom right corner of this page, you'll see that we plan to improve our dynamic catalog page creation. This is a nice way of saying there are specific pages in the catalog that you don't want to have to create manually each time and that you want to be created dynamically. Things like a list of all of the departments that your institution has on campus, for example. Today, those are created by a manual process. And this year, we plan to be working on using a dynamic process to create those pages so that those linkages persist year to year between catalog and that you're not having to use your time to create those pages by hand. In addition, we plan to provide additional templatized options for institutions to push out to their users so that things like header sizes, text colors, fonts, etc., are consistent across all of the pages that you're having end users edit. This way, again, you can maintain that institution's branded look and feel across the embedded experience when a user is coming to view your curricular or non-curricular content. On the bottom left corner is a generic placeholder for our updates to the embedded user experience. We've gotten a lot of feedback over the years about ways that we could improve the actual look and feel of the catalog itself within your institution's website. Now, there's a lot of flexibility that exists within the product today to support different ways of embedding that content. But what we'd like to do is further optimize the options available to you for what this actually looks like when a student, advisor, or other user comes to access your catalog on your institution's site. We'll be, just like with curriculum, reaching out to all of you or any of you that are interested for feedback in each of these areas. So for updates to PDF, for advanced filtering, etc. I know we've already spoken to many of you and gotten your feedback on how you would like those things to work, as well as what I discussed on the previous screen related to our catalog approval process. If by chance we haven't talked to you about these things and you're interested in going through designs, participating in user testing, or just providing general feedback on anything that you've seen, please let us know. We're happy to reach out to you at any point and take a little bit of your time. As I've mentioned previously, typically what we have to do is say, let us know if we're taking too much of your time, because we can be a little bit greedy in that regard. Now, there's a lot more that we have planned for catalog for this year. Typically, we'd like to highlight some of these, more significant things in a session of this sort. But again, you can access the roadmap portal to see as the roadmap evolves through the year. Now, I'd like to again review just how you can provide input and have some impact in how this roadmap evolves for catalog management. Again, we really encourage you to use that product roadmap portal, leave comments, indicate how important these functions or functionality are to you and to your institution. Many of you have already done that. Thank you so much for doing that. That's a large part of why our roadmap looks the way that it does today, is because of the feedback that we've gotten from customers on how important each of these areas of functionality are. Again, you can access that roadmap through Zendesk, or if you are submitting a feature request, there will be a link in the response to your feature request as well that will direct you to the portal. Another plug again for our Zendesk community. There is a section specific to curriculum management in the community, and Colleen will be going over that this afternoon as well. Please feel free to share best practices, collaborate with other institutions. I know one of the questions I get very frequently from customers is, how are other institutions embedding the catalog into their site? This could be a really great place for you to have asynchronous communication with our other customers to answer questions like that, brainstorm, and come up with ideas. And of course, we will be watching these areas for ideas for future functionality as well. Okay. Now, we have just about 9 more minutes. I'd love to transition to Q&A. So Hannah's going to go ahead and read any questions that have come in.
Great. So the first question is from James. Will there be integration with Google Search?
Integration, like as in having the pages be indexed into Google Search? I want to make sure I'm understanding that correctly. So James, if you want to add that into the Q&A box.
We can, oh, he says yes, index.
Yes, okay. We do have as part of that third step of our vision, thinking about how we can have the catalog fulfill a larger part of the institution's mission, ways in which we can improve the searchability from a Google or other search engine perspective. As far as where that is on the roadmap, we don't currently have that slated as planned, but it is something that we've talked significantly about and does fit in with where we see the vision of catalog management.
Great. The next question is also from James. He says, will it be possible to assign multiple pages to one user without going into each content item, i.e. bulk assign?
That's a great question. So we have been looking into the ability to do bulk assignments. One of the things that we've been trying to do both on curriculum and catalog management is release slices of functionality that deliver iterative value to customers. Oftentimes, you'll see, you might not have seen this actually, but let me give you an analogy. One of my coworkers who used to work at Kuali with us used to share this little phrase, which is, what we want to do is provide our customers with half of a baked cake, not a half-baked cake. So essentially what that means is we have really great and grand plans for how we could facilitate things like bulk assignments, bulk approvals, and being able to provide even greater flexibility into the project management side of publishing the catalog. But what we've decided to do is start with this iterative slice of functionality so that we can learn from you all for how you're using it and the needs that still need to be filled. So to specifically answer your question, James, Kate and I, our product designer on Catalog, have some mock-ups already in place for that sort of functionality. And so it's really great to hear that you think that that could potentially be of value to you. It's not necessarily slated in the roadmap right now, but it is part of where we see this project management aspect of catalog publication in the future.
Great. Okay, so the next question that we have is, Kate answered a couple of questions in the chat earlier, but I'm going to read them out just for everybody's benefit.
Sure.
So Paul asked, we have not deployed Catalog, but from the looks, it seems that it is mobile enabled. Is this correct? Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, yeah, it is. It is mobile enabled down to a typical cell phone screen.
Great, okay. And then the next question, are more than one catalog administrator function possible, i.e. contact editor and style editor functions, for instance?
You certainly could have more than one person responsible within the system for managing those things. We don't have a specific like label associated with that. So if you would need to have permissions limited based off of those delineations, that doesn't currently exist, but you could have more than one person have that sort of higher level responsibility to monitor the content, and then they could be responsible, one for style and one for content. But I hope I'm understanding the question, and if I'm not, then you can let me know.
Okay, the next question is from Jajia. I apologize if I'm mispronouncing that. Since the catalog draws data from your database, will the modifications made for, say, AY 2021 to 2022 catalog, excuse me, affect the contents of older catalogs?
No, so, well, and so it depends a little bit on the specific scenario, but catalogs themselves are chunked into start and end date periods of time. So let's say, for example, I have a catalog that's valid from August 1st of 2021 to August 1st of 2022. So if I make a change to curriculum and curriculum management that is within that period of time, then those updates will be reflected in the published catalog, and an addendum would be assigned to, let's say I was changing the course, for example. So the change would be reflected, and I would be able to see that that change took place either as an accreditor or just a viewer of the catalog. That, however, would not impact the previous catalog. So if there was a previous catalog that was had a start date of August 2020 to August of 1st of 2021. Those don't perfectly line up, but you understand what I mean. None of that content would be affected. And the same is true for the actual non-curricular or non-policy content that would exist in the catalog as well. So if I'm going into the catalog and I'm making a change to, say, the letter from the president or the welcome page for my catalog, that's only going to impact the catalog that I made that change in. It won't be reflected in previous catalogs. I hope that answers the question. Let me know if it doesn't.
And then in addition to that, for the content of courses and programs, I assume that you will draw the info from CM. Do we have the flexibility to add text or change the layout of the content?
Okay, gotcha. So the content does come from curriculum. So the way that it works is in the catalog, you have the ability to choose from all of the form fields associated with the type of content that you are displaying. So let's say, for example, courses. You're going to have a lot of information on your course form that you don't necessarily want to have displayed in the catalog, or that you do, but you don't necessarily want displayed with the same labels or in the same order. So in the catalog interface itself, and your customer success manager can show you this, or if you're working with a sales director, they can also show you this. You have the ability to determine which fields of information you'd like to draw from your curriculum course form, what you'd like those to be called in the embedded catalog, and then what order you want those to show in. As far as adding additional text, we have some limited capabilities for you to add some intro text. So let's say, for example, you are looking at a list of all of the courses assigned to your institution or all of the programs at your institution. You can add some introductory text there, typically targeted to provide additional information, any disclaimers that your institution might need to use relative to the published curriculum. Otherwise, we don't have the ability to add content specific to, say, a particular course page that exists separately from curriculum. We have had that feedback in the past that would be useful. So if that would be useful for you, anybody that's listening, if you would find that to be useful, please let us know, because we'd love to include that as part of our enhancements to the embedded experience.
Great. We do have a couple of additional questions, and we will reach out with the answers to those. We're just about at time. But thank you all of you for your questions, and we'll reach out for those of you that need some answers for that. I'll turn it back over to you, Sarah.
Thanks. Thanks again. Just like Hannah said, thanks for coming. Please feel free to rate the session. You've probably already heard of this a few times, but we are holding a contest to create a free build app. I am the product manager for our build application as well. So we'd love to work with you. If your institution has a generic workflow and form situation that you would like to see how our tool could support, we really encourage you to participate in that contest, and you get a good taste of what it's like to work with Kuali and to work with the build application. As always, let us know if you have additional questions. You can reach us via email, Zendesk, and we're happy to talk to you at any time. Thanks again for joining.